Absolutely. Let's show more of this. President Trump continued to attack Joe Biden's mental acuity during his interview on Fox News yesterday, challenging the former vice president to take the same cognitive exam that's for people with Alzheimer's. It's an exam for people with Alzheimer's. Take a look.
In the Fox poll, they asked people who is more competent, whose mind is sounder. Biden beats you in that.
Well, I tell you what, let's take a test. Let's take a test right now. Let's go down. Joe and I will take a test. Let him take the same test that I took.
Incidentally, I took the test too when I heard that you passed it.
Yeah, how did you do it?
Well, it's not the hardest test.
No, but
there's a picture and it says, what's that? And it's an elephant.
No. You see, that's all misrepresentation.
Well, that's what it was on the web.
It's all misrepresentation. Because, yes, the first few questions are easy, but I'll bet you couldn't even answer the last 5 questions. I'll bet you couldn't. They get very hard, the last 5 questions.
Well, one of them was count back from 100 by 7.
And let me tell you,
93.
You couldn't answer.
All right, what's the question?
Many of the questions. I'd get you the test. I'd like to give it. But I guarantee you that Joe Biden could not answer those questions. Okay? And I answered all 35 questions correctly.
Oh my God.
I
this
had
is
to
staggering.
I had to look at this test again because this isn't the first time the president has actually bragged about passing an Alzheimer's test. This is for people with dementia and Alzheimer's. They give them this test. And here we have a man running the most challenging job in government, not only in this country, but probably anywhere across the world, bragging about being able to identify a lion, a camel. And he says the last questions are tough.
Really?
That are really tough. Subject has to repeat them in the forward order. These numbers, 21854. 21854.
Got it.
Now, here are 3 numbers you have to repeat backwards. 742. 247.
Wow.
Here's a really.
So he says those are hard.
Here's a really tough one, too.
Okay.
Draw a clock for 10 past 11. 10 past 11. You see, this was actually, and This Is Us, I think it was. This is when they found out the mom.
Yeah, the show.
The show had Alzheimer's because she couldn't draw a clock. Donald Trump is bragging to Chris Wallace that he can draw a clock.
Well, and he's saying those last few questions are pretty hard. Our president.
And tell time. Here's the last question. The last 6 questions that he said are so hard. I mean, come on. Again.
No,
Trump supporters, look at this test. He thinks you're so stupid that you can't Google this test. But you can. You've got a Google machine. Go on your Google machine. This is your president who has the nuclear codes, who thinks that because he passes this test and passes the last, he says the last questions are very tough. Are you ready for this? What is the date today? What month are we in? What year is it? What day is it? What place are we sitting in right now?
Oh my gosh.
Where are you sitting, Mr. President? What city are you in right now? The President of the United States believes that Joe Biden, because more people believe that actually Joe Biden's mental acuity is better than Donald Trump's in the latest poll. Donald Trump continues to brag about taking this test. Reverend Al, I don't even know where to begin with this. But this isn't the first time he's bragged about being able to identify a camel.
My God.
Or what a lion is. And telling Chris Wallace, you can't pass this test. You can't draw a clock. You can't tell us what city you're in. That's what the President of the United States actually brags about to try to make us feel better about the man who has nuclear codes, to make us feel better that he's somehow with it. And this is why voters are wrong for thinking actually Joe Biden is sharper and has more mental acuity than the sitting President of the United States, because he could draw a clock and he could tell Chris Wallace what city he was in.
It reminded me at that point in the interview that Chris Wallace had left the Rose Garden where he was interviewing the president and was visiting an old man in a nursing home, trying to convince him that he was still cognitive in terms of his cognitive skills, that he was still able. I mean, it was very, it went from laughable to pitiful. To sit there and
pitiful.
try to convince Chris Wallace that he was somehow very much up to where he should be because he could identify things that were very simple. You start then being, you start being pitied. And to think that this man is running this country and is in charge of the military, in charge of real decisions, becomes frightening. When you think about the fact that he wants to reduce this to taking a test that he thinks is hard, the real test is going to be in November on who can run this country. And as one who has spent time in my life meeting with both Donald Trump and Joe Biden, that's not a contest. I think what Donald Trump is forgetting is his niece told us he had someone take the SAT test. There'll be no one to take the test for you in November, Mr. President.